patriarchs, they taught that the human body was the microcosm or little cosmos, made in the image of the macrocosm or the great cosmos. This analogy between the finite and the infinite is said to be one of the keys by aid of which the secrets of the Holy Writ were unlocked. There is no doubt that the Old Testament, as well as the New, that the Old Testament is a psychological, anatomical textbook. So all your holy books, all your holy writings, was only talking about the components inside of man, not outside of him. So the God that you are supposed to look for is within you. Prophet Noble Ali in the Circle 7 says, if man must find his Savior or his God, he must look within. His name is self. Or if man must find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. We have not been taught the scriptures. We've been told, but we have not been taught that everything that's component of God is component of man. And everything that's component of man is the component of God. So it said there is no doubt that the Old Testament, as well as the New, is a psychological and anatomical textbook about the human body. So everything you're reading about the scriptures is only talking about what's going on inside of you. This is what our ancestors taught. To those capable of reading it from a scientific viewpoint. Only for those who are capable of reading it from a scientific viewpoint. The functions of the human body, the attributes of the human mind, and the qualities of the human soul have been personified. Have what? Been personified. What did our ancestors do? In their vast wisdom, our ancestors gave the functions of each part of the body personalities or characteristics, whereby when you read certain things, you will know what it's talking about in the function of the body. Today, that information has been kind of distorted and twisted to where when you read about Jesus and all these people, you're thinking it's actually talking about a person when it was only alchemical components inside of the body. That's why man must know thyself, and you will know the universe and God. By knowing self. This is the only way to know everything. We read earlier that the ancestors said that we know everything by studying man. Nothing else. But by studying man, we study everything. So the real book to study is you. Jesus in the Circle 7 of the Holy Quran that the Prophet Noble Ali brought to us in Chicago in the 20s. He asked, Lamas asked him, what should I study? And he said, yourself. And after you have studied well, I say, study yourself again. What is there else for man to study but himself? There is nothing else to study but self. How can you know who God is and don't know who you are? That's been most of our problems. We run around not knowing. And some not even caring to know. But here it is. I'll read it again. It said, the functions of the human body, the attributes of the human mind, and the qualities of the human soul have been personified, gave personalities by the wise men of the ancient world. And a great drama have been built around their relationship to themselves and to each other. So all the stories you read in the Bible was only the components what's going on inside of us. So they gave each cell, each function, each organ a name, a function, and gave it a characteristics whereby when you read and reading of Jesus, you automatically knew Jesus was the pineal gland. You automatically knew who Jesus was. Wasn't outside of you. It was power that was going on inside of you. And our ancestors knew that. They didn't believe nothing. They knew. which sets us apart today because we are on belief. They knew. They were the prime examples of creation. They were the prime examples of being the gods. It goes on here that the great Hermetic axiom was that which is above is likened unto that which is below. And that which is below is likened unto that which is above. So everything that's above you in the heavens is also here on the earth. Not only on the earth, but in the earth, which is the body. Because the earth is representative of this body. Egypt is the body. Jerusalem is the body. Not a place, but a cosmological, anatomical, alchemical process inside of man. On page 2, same book, Your Code Anatomy of Man, it says here that all the priests, all the who?
Priests.
All the priests. That's who knew this information, the ancient priest of Kemet. That taught in the pyramid universities, known as the mystery systems. All the priests of the ancient world were anatomists. Meaning what? They studied nothing but the body of man. They studied nothing but the body of man. They recognized that all the functions of nature was reproduced in miniature in the human body. They therefore used man as the textbook, teaching their disciples that to understand man was to understand the universe. These wise men knew that every star in the heavens, every element in the earth, every function in nature was represented by a corresponding center or activity within the human body. They knew this. They knew this. Let me read this other part here. On page 30, same book, Code Anatomy of Man, page 30. It says, man is a great study. Who's a great study?
Man.
Man, you are. Man is a great study. But we make very little of our textbook. Who's the textbook?
We are.
You are. But we made very little use of our textbook. The scriptures of all nations are filled with anatomical references to cities, places that have no existence outside of man himself. So where's Jerusalem?
Inside.
Where's Bethlehem?
Inside.
Where's Egypt?
Inside.
Captivity of flesh.
Nowhere outside of you, but inside. Where's your Jesus?
Inside.
Where's all your saviors?
Inside.
That's why we have a proof to scholarship. Now, anybody don't want to disagree with it, again, feel free to have any disagreements. We're always saying this. All of us that's here, we say that to all those that have studied some things. If you have a disagreement with what we're saying, then please, with common sense, let's sit down and discuss this. Put it on the table. You know. But don't argue with nobody if you ain't got no knowledge of this either. It's foolish. It's absolutely futile.
Yeah, gig on that one.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the book Cosmic Creation. And let's prove some things. That you are the epitome of the universe. That there's nothing greater than you. Nothing higher than you. On page 4, Hilton Hotima writes, the human organism, or the human body, is produced primarily of cells of parents, which cells is composed of atoms. So it is, you have cells in the body, and these cells are composed of atoms that are so small that 900,000 of them could rest side by side on a pinpoint. So you take a point of a pen And you take these cells